Soulfully Yours podcast is here to walk alongside you. Together, we'll explore the depths of your soul and uncover the true essence of who you are. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with others seeking their own path to wholeness. Now, let's embark on this soulful journey together. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of Soulfully Yours podcast. And I am excited, y'all. I'm excited in a good way, excited, nervous, happy, all of the things. But if you listen to the introductory episode and you decided to come back, thank you so very much. Before we get started, I want you to take a deep breath in. So let's take a deep breath in. Let's exhale. I want you to relax your shoulders, okay? Unclench your jaw, your teeth, and just relax, okay? What is one thing that you're grateful for, or one good thing that you can tell me about that happened to you today, yesterday, or wherever you are? What are you grateful for? What can you show gratitude for? And I'll go first. I'm grateful for my senses. All 5, 6, 7. I'm grateful for my senses. To be able to see, hear, feel, touch, taste. Because your girl is a foodie, okay? So I am grateful that I am able to see how beautiful this world is. I am grateful that I get to taste wonderful food. I am grateful that I get to hug on the people that I love. I'm grateful that I get to hear my grandmother's voice, my granddaddy's voice, my mother's voice. I am grateful for just being able to feel the feel, see the things, taste the things. I'm grateful for my senses. So let's get into this first episode. And this episode is going to pretty much set the tone for the podcast and where we're going. So we're on a trip, right, to self-discovery, discovering oneself. And the destination is mastery of oneself, right? So when we get ready to go on a trip, after we decided, where we're going, especially if we're driving, we always use the GPS. Now, before GPS got so to where it's on our phones, my auntie and my mama old school, okay? So we used to print them things out on MapQuest before we would get in the car and go. Just in case the phone failed or whatever the case may be, we had directions in the phone and we printed them junks out before we got ready to go. And so we use our GPS navigation system when we're driving to our destinations to get us to and from. They give us the accurate time we should arrive. It also lets us know where accident is, where we can detour. Just all of the things to get us to our destination safely. And so in this episode, like I said, we're on a trip to self-discovery, and we're going to set our GPS and use our GPS to navigate us to the destination of self-mastery, the destination of growth, transformation, and all of the things. So if I ask you, where are you going? Where are you headed? What's the destination? How would you get there? We all would say, girl, I use my GPS. And I'd say you're correct. And so we're going to start with the G. The G in using your GPS is grace. Do you give yourself grace? Now, what is grace, right? Do you even know what that is? Grace is involving kindness, patience, compassion towards yourself and others, especially in times of difficulty, growth, and transformation. We use grace to accept our own imperfections, our setbacks, as a natural part of like healing, growing, and changing, right? And so I'm asking, do you give yourself grace on whatever journey you're on right now? Do you give yourself grace in life? Prime example, a story that I tell a lot of people is I had a coworker that used to work at the hospital with us, and he would get so angry and frustrated at times with other people, specifically management. You know what I'm saying? And he asked me, he was like, Katie, you walk around here, unbothered, unfazed by, what's going on, and, things of that nature. And I told him, if that's what I'm giving, I'm definitely probably, I am doing my job, but if you think that, great. You know what I'm saying? Stuff definitely bothers me, but I choose to, what am I going to focus on? And so he asked me, how do I deal with people who make me angry, make me upset, and, frustrated at times? And I had to tell him, because he's older than me too. So I was looking like I'm so confused. But here's the thing. Maturity has no age. So yeah, I simply told him, because he's a man of faith, he believes in God. I told him that the same grace that God gives me daily, I have to give it to other people. Okay. This is how I control said anger, or not necessarily get so upset with people, because we have no idea what people are going through. And so extending that same grace that God gives us daily, that's how you use it. That's how you practice it. Because truth be told, I tell people all the time, I'm out here saving people's lives and they don't even know it, because if it wasn't for grace, I probably would be in jail, just going off of being angry and allowing people to upset you. So in the journey, right, of where you are, do you extend grace to yourself? Do you extend grace to people? Are you giving yourself grace for learning, for changing, for making the mistakes? Are you giving yourself grace and being kind to yourself when you're starting something new, or when you're correcting certain behaviors? Are you giving yourself grace along the journey? Are you allowing God to guide you, through this, the God of your understanding, whoever you call your God to be? Are you allowing God to guide you safely through this journey called life? Are you allowing yourself to be guided through this self-discovery of yourself on the road to self-mastery? Are you giving yourself that? Because that's crucial. That's important in this whole process, because we want to sometimes rush the trip, right? We be so in a hurry to get to the destination that we miss out on the things that build character, that show us things about ourselves that we need to embrace and give grace to. So I asked that question because some people don't give themselves grace. They're not allowing themselves to be patient with themselves. They're not allowing themselves to even forgive themselves. Like, forgive yourself for the mistakes, without dwelling in guilt or shame. Be patient and understanding that stuff takes time. Anything good takes time. Embracing your imperfections, recognizing that you're human and mistakes are going to be made, but I don't have to dwell in them. Giving yourself grace by positive self-talk, having compassion for yourself when you're facing difficulties, and realizing that it's okay to struggle sometimes in that moment, and that you deserve some understanding and some kindness, right? Practicing grace is allowing yourself to feel. You have to accept your emotions, whether they positive or negative. Allow yourself to feel the frustrations in that moment fully, and not trying to, I just get over it, get over it, get over it. That's what we're taught a lot, to just get over it, keep moving, keep pushing. But no, in this moment, I'm going to allow myself some grace and be frustrated. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be mad. Am I going to get over this? Yes, because I have to keep going. But in this moment, I am going to allow myself to have a temper tantrum like a baby. I had one a couple weeks ago, and it's okay. I knew I had to do what I had to do, but in the moment, baby, I'm going to allow myself to feel this. But giving yourself grace also looks like taking breaks, resting when you need to, and not pushing yourself too hard, because that can lead to burnout. And you can get tired, and doing things when you are tired, you don't perform at your best. And so give yourself grace to rest, to take the breaks, to show yourself some compassion, to embrace your imperfections. Give yourself grace in forgiving yourself. Okay? I just listen. Some other ways that I practice grace, it's like just journaling, writing down my thoughts. Okay? Practicing gratitude, being grateful for the small things, being mindful of where I am. That's how you can, practice some grace. The P in using your GPS is permission. What do you give yourself permission to do? Do you give yourself permission to go after your dreams? Give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do in life that are fulfilling to you, that bring some sense of meaning and joy into your life. Do you allow or give yourself permission to be and not always do? We always got to be doing something. Well, if I'm not doing this, if I'm not busy, if I'm not working on this, if I'm not doing this, if I'm not go, do you give yourself permission to just sit down and be still? Do you give yourself that? Do you give yourself permission to acknowledge what you need? Give yourself permission to say no to the things that drain your energy, to the things that don't serve you, to the things that don't align with where you want to go and where you want to be. Do you give yourself permission, to express your emotions? Allow yourself to feel the things and understand that there is going to be ups and downs along the journey, but that's a part of, being healthy. Allowing yourself, emotional regulation is what they call it now. But allowing yourself or giving yourself that permission. And I hope you are giving yourself permission, because are you waiting on someone to give you the permission to do the things? Or do you need the okay from other people? Are you seeking that validation from other people on what you should do with your life, where you should be, where you should go? Or are you giving yourself permission to figure it out along the way? Start your own journey. Do your own thing. Go by the beat of your own drum. Chase the things that you want to chase. Bring in the things that you want to bring into your life fully for yourself. Are you giving yourself permission to be patient with yourself? Are you giving yourself permission to establish and create boundaries that protect your time, that protect your health, your mental health, all of those things? Are you giving yourself permission to stretch? Right? Now, stretching prevents injuries, right? Especially when we talking about getting into the gym and working out and all those things. Stretching keeps you flexible, but it also, it does the body good, but it prevents injuries by doing the proper stretches. So are you giving yourself permission to stretch, to bend, to stretch yourself to where I need to do the things that I need to do for me in a good way? Not stretch yourself thin to where you don't have nothing to give anybody or anything, including yourself. But give me permission to stretch a little bit. See what I got. Are you pacing yourself? Or are you trying to rush the process? Rush to get to the destination? You have to pace yourself. You just do. The story I think about so clearly is when my dad was dropping me out. My parents were dropping me off for college. Shout out to Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now, me and my mom have been to the college maybe 2-3 times already. So we know the route, we know the way, we getting there, okay? So it's not a long drive. Maybe 3 hours. Pushing it would be 3.5. So we're on the way to drop me off to college. It's my freshman year. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Get the hell on. And my dad decided to take another route that me and my mom didn't take. And instead of it being a 3.5 hour drive, I think he made it into like a 4.5, almost 5 hours. I was so pissed, y'all. I was so mad because I'm like, it does not take that long to get here. I'm huffing and puffing and just lip poked out, everything. Tell me why we roll up on Franklin, Tennessee. I ain't never heard of it because, the state is Tennessee, but baby, I'm telling you, the state is Memphis. Okay? That's all we know. Memphis. But rolled up on Franklin, Tennessee. And when I tell you, it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in Tennessee that I didn't even know existed. And we, rode through small towns and saw historic things. And it ended up being such a beautiful drive that I didn't even realize like it really took that long. But I was such in a hurry to get to where I already knew the school was. The school wasn't going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. But I discovered, right, all the beautiful places in between Memphis to Murfreesboro, Nashville, Tennessee, all of the things that I hadn't seen before. And that just taught me in itself right there to not rush, the drive, not rush the process, not rush to get to the destination, because you miss all the beautiful things in between and all the lessons that you're supposed to learn and all of the strengthening that you get and all of the just jewels and unexpected gifts along the way. That's what I called them, because it was so beautiful, breathtaking. I love nature, y'all. And so it was just a beautiful place to see. But because I was such in a hurry to get to the school that I already knew wasn't going anywhere that I would have missed out on all of the things that I saw, that I experienced, and all of that. And so, are you pacing yourself? You're going into uncharted territory, places that you've never been before when it comes to discovering really who you are. You're discovering things that you didn't even know existed. So, pacing yourself is important because you're revealing things about yourself that you didn't know. And it's going to take some time. Some adjustments going to have to be made, okay? And so you need to be able to set a pace that will be able to sustain you on the journey to the destination. You want to set a pace to where it allows you time to make corrections. And if you have to detour off the main road just to get back on the main road, those type of things, you want to be able to pace yourself. Because if we got a long drive and this is about to be a long trip, we definitely gonna pull over at a Love, okay? Or a Pilot or whatever your thing is. But we got to pace ourselves because we need to take breaks, and make sure we're not fatigued in the process. It's just like if you were overworking a muscle because you done got into your fitness journey, your health and wellness bag, right? And going to the gym every day, doing the things. Even trainers will tell you can rest day or have active recovery days, because overworking that muscle or that thing you'll be tired, and that'll cause injury. And so you want to be able to pace yourself to where you can withstand the storms, right? The hills, the mountains, and the valleys that are going to come along the journey, because they're coming. And you want to be able to pace yourself, okay? So that's the P in GPS, giving yourself permission, right, to do the things that you need to do to get to the other side of whatever that is, to pace yourself so that you're able to sustain yourself during the journey. Because that's what we're going to have to do during these different podcast episodes. There are going to be some episodes y'all like, hey, Katie, this look, I'm going to have to pace myself with this one. Because you're really, really reaching. Or I never thought about asking myself, what do I give myself permission to do? And I'm telling you and allowing you that time right now as you're listening to me. Ask yourself, what do I give myself permission to do at this time in my life? What is it that I really want to do? Do I want to go back to school for a degree? Do I want to get a certification? Do I want to start a family? Do I want to move? Okay. Do I want to be in a relationship? Do I want to write a book? Do I want to start a podcast? Do I want to learn a new skill? What do you give yourself permission to do? Do you even give yourself permission to forgive yourself, to love yourself fully, to accept yourself fully, to put in the work, right? To get whatever it is that you want out of life. That is what the P is for, giving yourself permission to do the things that you want to do, but also pacing yourself to where you'll be able to sustain and maintain, your wellness during this journey. All right, we made it to the S, okay? Yes. So the G is for grace, giving yourself grace. Are you allowing God to guide you, the God of your understanding, to guide you in this process, right? We went over the P. The P is for permission and to pace yourself, right? The S in setting or using your GPS is, how are you safeguarding yourself during this process? How are you keeping yourself safe on this journey to self-discovery, to self-mastery of oneself, to growth, to transformation, to change, whatever it is? How are you safeguarding yourself? How are you making yourself safe from things that may occur along the journey? How are you keeping yourself safe against, accidents, wrecks that could, come and make you kind of sit in traffic longer than you want to? How are you safeguarding your heart? There are going to be some topics that I talk about that you may not be ready to tackle. And that's okay to say, you know what, KD, this episode right here is not for me. This episode is going a little too deep, and I don't think I'm quite ready to tackle that subject yet. And so for me, I'm going to safeguard myself until I'm ready, until I gather the strength to go through this process. I'm going to safeguard my heart. I'm going to safeguard my mind, because right now I don't have the strength to do that. And that is totally okay, because you have to protect yourself. And sometimes, dare I say, you have to protect yourself from yourself. I've learned along this process, into healing the relationship with myself, how I trigger myself, not anybody else, how I trigger myself. I also learned in this process of, again, mending the relationship with myself and trying to establish, just harmony within myself. I had to, man, on some real, I had to save myself from myself. And we'll get into that topic in a whole nother episode. So make sure you come back for that one. Okay. Because that one is a doozy. Okay. But how are you safeguarding yourself in this process along the way? What things do you have in place for risk management, in case something does pop up and kind of gets you off your, kind of knock you off your socks a little bit, kind of knock you back. Some ways that you can practice, safety or safeguarding yourself is, of course, setting those boundaries, right? Establish that, maintain that, protect that, because we protecting everything over here. Your emotional health, your physical health, your mental health, your well-being, anything that may trigger that, you have to set that boundary, because we don't want to entertain anything that drains the energy, because we need it for ourselves and the people that we take care of or whomever, but we need that energy for ourselves. Are you seeking wisdom, knowledge, and understanding along the way? Are you seeking support? And by that, I mean surrounding yourself with people who are supportive to the betterment of you. People who support your growth. People who are advocates for you and your highest self. Are you seeking that? Are you establishing, the supportive friend or the supportive family member, or hell, the therapist, the pastor, the life coach, your beautician? Shout out to mine. Because, honey, therapy, seriously. Are you seeking that type of support? Do you have that? Safeguarding yourself, It's actually you practicing self-care, engaging in activities that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. This includes exercise, being in the gym. This includes meditation, mindfulness, journaling, reading your Bible, reading a book, getting into those hobbies, spending time in nature, and still going to therapy or talking to someone other than yourself or people who only want to see the chaos in you, only want to hear the drama that you have going on in your life or the negative things, really practicing putting your phone on do not disturb. For real, because just because it's day emergency don't mean it's yours. Okay? Another way we can safeguard ourselves in this journey is, reducing or limiting, right, how much you expose yourself to negative people, places, things, environment, social media. What social media websites or are you following? Who are you following on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat that are negative for you? When they show up in your feed, what type of feel do you get? Is it always them reporting on drama and mess and gossip and just negativity? Are you feeding yourself that? Because that's going to hurt you along the way, because as much as we don't want to admit it, we are influenced. Some people easier than others, but we're influenced by social media. And so what does your timeline feed look like, bro? What it look like, sis? Is it full of just toxic stuff, or is it motivating? Is it positive? Is it, those reinforcements that you need to keep you, committed to the goals, committed to yourself? I stopped listening. I unsubscribed or unfollowed. The Shade Room, probably 5 years ago. And no shade to them, even though it's in their name. Me being consumed with celebrity gossip or all the other things or whoever, it was just too much. And it was negative to me. And I know sometimes we be wanting to know the tea, baby. We do. But constantly looking at that, I went down a rabbit hole of looking at other pages that had the tea on such and such. And these are celebrities and people who we don't know. And they don't know us, and they clearly don't care. Why am I so invested into this? I spent so much time looking at a post or diving down the rabbit hole, as you can go into TikTok especially, when I could have been reading a book, when I could have did the 30-minute workout, or I could have spent time meditating or writing down my goals or actively working on those things. But no, I spent time wasting time that I'm not going to get back, fooling with the gossip. I'm not going to sit up there and say I wasn't doing it. I was, honey. Another way to safeguard yourself would be to practice mindfulness and being able to stay present with what you're doing. Meditating can help you manage your stress and fostering like that sense of inner peace, in a sense. So if you meditate and you find that your mind wanders, that's okay. That's okay. You're trying to quiet the mind. My mind races a lot. It's full of ideas, full of just creative things I want to do, or I'm thinking about life and where I'm going and and trying to quiet my mind as it pertains to trying to meditate. Sometimes it doesn't always do that. My mind go places that it probably shouldn't while I meditate. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest. So sometimes in my meditation, it is me listening to inspirational music, gospel music. Sometimes my meditation includes me praying or petitioning. Sometimes my meditation could just be me being grateful and saying all the things that I'm grateful for. It doesn't have to look a certain way, sound a certain way, or fit a certain narrative. What are you doing to safeguard yourself? One thing that I practice faithfully, regardless of what's going on in my life, I give myself an hour in the morning, and that hour can be for me to journal, for me to work out, for me to meditate, for me to get myself ready for the day, spend time with God. I give myself that because I don't know what's going to happen when I go outside this door, but I need to be in tune with myself. I need to be ready to tackle the day with whatever may come my way, right? And so that's what I do. Some of y'all knows I work in the hospital, but my main area is mental health, PTSD, drug and alcohol. And so that's working with a lot of energies, with a lot of different people. And I need to be ready to tackle the day with whatever that comes with. But I also give myself an hour when I get off of sitting in the car or just sitting in silence or just decompressing, if you will, because what I don't want to do is bring work home and bring home to work. I'm not serving anybody there. And I'm not saying sometimes that doesn't happen, but if I can prevent it, that's the thing that I'm going to do to safeguard myself. I had to learn how to make me a safe space for myself when my safe places are not available to me. And that could be the therapist, the life coach, the friend, the beautician, my mom or dad, or people who give me sound advice. Your friends won't always be available, honey. Your therapist, your life coach, your go-to people won't always be available. And so you have to learn how to make yourself a safe space within yourself, because your safe places are not always going to be available, baby. Life be happening to them too. And so you have to learn how to not necessarily disassociate or avoid or compartmentalize, as they like to say, your feelings or emotions when you're feeling them. It's just, you have to learn, you have to learn how to, I have to go within. I have to pray right now. Whatever it is, I have to meditate right now, or I have to give myself at least 5 minutes, whether that's to cry, to scream into the pillow, to write some stuff down. But I have to, whatever that thing is, I got to get it out of me. And I don't want to necessarily put it on anybody else either. So how are you safeguarding yourself? How are you making yourself a safe space? And safeguarding your heart. Because like I said, we're going to talk about some things that might be triggering. And you need to be able to safeguard yourself in that instance, because, hey, I'm not ready to talk about that right now. I'm not ready to. And that's okay. I just want to know, or you to know, like, how are you setting your GPS? Are you using your GPS? Did you set it for whatever goal that is, for whatever change that is, for whatever journey that may be on? Whether, again, that's your health and wellness journey, your growth journey, a self-love journey, you're on a healing journey. Use your GPS in all of it so you can arrive to your destination safely and on time, how you should. You should always give yourself grace. Every day is going to be a new task, a new hurdle. Something is going to happen to try to throw you off your rocker, right? Off balance, But are you allowing God to guide your steps, the God of your understanding to guide your steps in this process? Are you allowing that? Are you giving yourself permission to do the thing, to go after the thing, to rest, to be patient, to what? Give yourself permission. Again, that's a question that I want you to ask. That's probably the number one reflection question that I want to ask is for you to answer. What do I give myself permission to do? Right? Are you pacing yourself and not rushing the process of you getting to self-mastery, of refinement? You're polishing up on yourself. You're polishing up your skills and growing into a better version of yourself. Are you pacing yourself, or are you trying to rush the process because you don't want to go through the things and you don't want to feel the feels? Here's the thing about rushing. Besides the story that I gave you before, I'm a cook. I'm a foodie. We already know this. If you didn't know, now you know. But I tell people I don't bake, right? Because I don't like it. I don't, and that's probably a rebel in me, a little bit rebellion in me. But when you bake, you have to follow instructions to the T, right? If I rush baking a cake, meaning I didn't use the right amount of flour, or I didn't use enough eggs, or whatever the recipe calls for, my cake is going to come out dry and flat because I was rushing, because I'm ready to get this over with, because it's uncomfortable for me. Or do I take my time, read the directions, follow the instructions, and get the cake that I want? So are you pacing yourself? And don't feel like, well, by this time, I thought I would have been. Oh my God, when I tell y'all, that's one of the things that will rob you of your joy, steal from you, comparing, or feeling like I should have been here by a certain age, or I thought I'd be here by a certain age. You're right where you're supposed to be. Right where you're supposed to be. Are you seeking wisdom, knowledge, and understanding for where you're going? Are you getting sound advice and help along the way? But are you safeguarding yourself? Are you learning how to make yourself a safe place to be? Because that's how you get to your destination on time and safe. So we're going to wrap this first episode up with some reflection questions, and I'm going to give you all some books that you can read, listen to, follow up on for this podcast, or not the podcast, Lord, but some books that you can read about giving yourself grace, setting those boundaries, giving yourself permission. I'm going to give you a few books, but when it comes to reflection questions, since we was talking about, using your GPS, what specific goals or milestones do you want to achieve? And this is you setting the destination, right? In your current location, we're going to say, what are you currently working on? What are you currently healing from? Or what is your starting point? Because we need to know what's the current location. Now, when we mapping out the route, right? What steps or actions are you taking to move from your current location to your desired destination? Let me say that again. We're mapping out the route, remember, because we're using a GPS. What steps or actions are you taking to move from your current location to your desired destination? Okay. Now, let's navigate this thing. What strategies can you use to stay on track when you encounter difficulty, setbacks? Okay. Sometimes, our GPS does is it recalculates the route because we done missed the turn, missed the exit, right? If you find yourself off course, how can you gently redirect yourself back on track? How do you get back on track if you find yourself off course? That's recalculating the route. I done missed a few exits. With using your GPS, let's check. We have those checkpoints, right? So, a checkpoint reflection question would be, at what points along the journey do you stop to reflect on your progress that you've made? Okay, we definitely stop for fuel. So, what is going to fuel you? What activities or practices are going to provide you with energy and motivation that you need for the journey, right? Another question is, we're going to talk about the travel. How can you effectively communicate your needs and boundaries to those who are supporting you? Remember when we talked about that safeguarding and seeking? How can you effectively communicate your needs and boundaries to those supporting you? Okay, that's your travel companion. That's your what is it? What they call the passenger when you driving. So if I'm the driver, the person in the front seat is the, dang it, y'all tell me. Y'all gonna tell me. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Trusting the process for you to get to where you're gonna go. How can you cultivate trust within yourself and in the journey, even when the path isn't clear? These are the reflection questions from the first episode of using your GPS, setting your GPS, okay? The book is The Gifts of Imperfections by Brene Brown. I read this book probably twice, and I'm probably going to read it again because your girl be needing it. But the book is just, it encourages you to embrace your imperfections and recognizing that, like, you're really good and you are enough just as you are. And there's nothing, again, wrong with wanting to change and grow and transform, but it just really encourages you to accept your imperfections. And this is coming from a recovering perfectionist, okay, if you will. Let's see, another book as far as like self-compassion. This is one that helped me be kind to myself. It's called Self-Compassion. The Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself by Kristen Neff. Books on giving yourself permission would probably be, I like it. You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. But those are the reflection questions from this podcast episode. Those are the book recommendations for this podcast episode. And if you stay to the end, oh my goodness, y'all, we made it through our first episode of Soulfully Yours podcast. And I, again, am so grateful, so honored, so blessed to have you here with me at this time. Hopefully there was something that I said, something that you heard that you can take back with you and use in your day-to-day living. Okay, I'm always gonna tell you, take what you need, leave what you don't. But it has been a wonderful time, and I'm always gonna tell you, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Until next time, I love you. Bye.